Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm with my beautiful co-host, Dawnette Palmore. Welcome to the show, Dawnette.
Hello, it's so good to be here again.
It's wonderful. I'm excited for today's show because you always bring with you an entourage of guests, and we're going to be introducing the guests here in just a little while. Thank you for bringing the people that you bring, because it's always such a great enlightening conversation and tools on what it is that we can do to make our lives better. Really appreciate that. And the topic that you created for us today is about kids and entrepreneurship. And this topic, you say that this is the topic that needs to get more light shed on it. We need to be talking about entrepreneurship with our kids, showing them what it means, to empower them with options rather than just going to college or getting a 9-to-5. Entrepreneurship is proven to help kids develop a better work ethic, have a stronger appreciation for money, think creatively, improve people's skills, to be able to set goals, and so much more. I mean, and I really feel like, talking with your kids right now about entrepreneurship is really teaching them how to be self-reliant, literally self-reliant, teaching them how to fish.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. It teaches them so many life skills, so much stuff. I've seen it in my family, and other kids get thrown out into the world, and then they're trying to figure things out and nobody's helping them through that. And really, our parenting is supposed to prepare them for that. And we need more entrepreneurs, right? Because they're so creative. They are the people that see the need and fill the need. And we think about all these people who have come before us and the great things they've done through entrepreneurship.
Yes. Yeah. So it's perfect because you have raised your children to be entrepreneurs as well. So you're practicing what you're preaching, and you're definitely an example of what that looks like. But do tell us a little bit about your story, how you came to be and doing what it is that you do today.
Okay, I'm going to do that. First, I want to say I'm giving away a $100 Amazon gift card. Excited. All you guys have to do is go to my website, www.proverbsfinancialcoaching.com /, giveaway. Subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, where I will be announcing the winner September 2nd at 2 Pacific Standard Time. And then subscribe to my financial tip email, and you will be entered to win $100 Amazon gift card.
What a generous offer. Yay. Everybody go to it. Zach, did you put this up on the screen while Dawnette was talking about the giveaway, the Amazon $100 gift card?
I did.
You're awesome, Zach.
Yeah, and we're going to be announcing this throughout the show. So whenever you're, want to get that handle again, we're gonna give it to you again. So, yep.
All right. So the reason I wanted to start with kind of my story is because, guys, the odds were against me. Okay. If you would have, when you hear my story, and my story is a whole nother podcast, it could take 2 or 3 hours, but you're gonna get the gist of it. You would look at my life and say, she's a loser. She isn't gonna make anything of herself, and she's not going to amount to anything. I have overcome generations of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, physical abuse, and I am overcoming generational being broke. I am overcoming that. So as I'm talking about this, think about, have you had enough? Because I had had enough, and I wanted to change my life and my kids' life. So as I'm talking, think about, have you had enough? And what are you willing to do to change? So I was not taught any kind of work ethic at all. And I really wasn't allowed to work as a teenager. had to do my chores and that was it. I wasn't allowed to get money off of it or anything. But when I was about 8 or 9, I did get my first job, and I was actually an extra on Magnum PI, if you guys remember the original one.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember I got like $90 for that day, and I was so excited. I had that cash in my envelope, and I just thought, I have so much money. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I just looked at it and made me so excited. And I could either buy whatever I wanted or I could save it. So at 16, I actually left home. I became a mother at 17, and I was living with an abusive boyfriend and his family. It made me feel so dependent and trapped. And at 19, I finally had enough and kicked that guy to the curb and said, I am never going to let someone treat me like that again or make me feel that way again. I was making my own money, feeling great and independent, right? I wanted to control my life. I felt freedom, and I knew I wanted more. And I think this is kind of where my entrepreneurial spirit was born.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm sorry that we went to break so quick. We were cut off by the internet, and then all of a sudden, now we're back. So Dawnette is going to finish her story. She was telling us that she kicked the guy to the curb, and take it from there, Dawnette.
All right. So at 19 years old, I kicked my boyfriend to the curb. I decided I didn't want to let anybody ever make me feel that way again. So at that time, I also had a job, and that's where my entrepreneurial spirit kind of was born before I even knew what it was. I really started dreaming about having my own business. And at that time, I thought, oh, body shop sounds great, but that was not the plan. But being my own business, being independent, that was something that I started dreaming about. And I really didn't even know what entrepreneurial was until I was about 24, when my husband and I started our first business. We just jumped right into it. We didn't really know what we were doing. We made so many mistakes, but we learned so much along the way. And we've also had a journey of having to close businesses down and restart twice. So that is huge lessons learned. So importance of teaching our kids the entrepreneurship, like we were talking about earlier, Kornelia, having a better work ethic, stronger appreciation for money, creative thinking, improved people skills, and better goal setting. So how did I take all of this and help my kids? If you guys listened to the podcast during the summer, I had my kids on here, so you can go back and listen to that and listen to their stories. But parents, we really should be talking to our kids about this stuff. Really open up those conversations like we've been saying for the last 10 months, right? Talk to your kids. One thing I did was change my kids' allowance to a commission. So they only got paid for what they did. They didn't just get paid because it was payday. Because if you don't show up to work, guess what? You don't get paid, right? That's what happens in the real world.
Yeah.
And I always had my kids working beside me, whether I was volunteering or working. And for a couple of years, I ran a coffee shop, and I had them at they were probably 7, 8, 9. They were taking orders, having to interact with people. They were running the register, and were actually able to count the change back to people, not just hand it and say, here you go. And just kind of say, well, there's $10.80 back. They learned how to make all the drinks, and they learned how to clean up. Then when they were about 9, 10, 11, I put them on payroll. So they started learning about taxes, learning to give, to save, to spend, and all these skills that they needed to become the successful adults they are today. Teaching them the value of money, how to make money, how to handle money. A lot of kids think you just go to the ATM and pull money out. They don't really know that you got to work and put it in there first, right? And I didn't give my kids everything or pay for everything. And you've heard the stories of when we were going to the restaurants and they had to buy their own drinks. they only did that for a short time because they didn't want to waste $3 or $4 on a drink. They'd rather just drink water and spend their money on something else that they really enjoyed. So doing little things like that has really helped them. And they have mowed lawns, pulled weeds, used their gift and talents to make money. Chloe, who I had on before, actually went and found a bunch of free stuff on Craigslist and then turned around and sold it for money. So great, right? So they've done a ton of things to be able to make money and have this entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, that's fantastic. And that's, what you're helping people do is you've brought on so many guests and clients and children that are, trained from an earlier age so that they don't end up the same statistic of what we had to do, right? Helping them become entrepreneurs early on and having those conversations, learning the value of money and knowing what to do to create wealth from an early age rather than be another poverty statistic, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's introduce these three amazing people. They are experts in their field, and I'm so super excited. Now, they're long introductions, so let me get this. Keon, so sorry I had to kind of cut yours short because yours was like pages long. But I'm going to introduce Keon first because he's got to leave a little bit early because he actually is his first day of class today. So, as a young African-American student, Dr. Anderson encountered and overcame many hardships while seeking a better future for himself and his family. He was exposed to poverty, gang violence, and drugs, and he cites his struggle with overcoming dyslexia as one of his most significant challenges. With a thirst for knowledge and the motivation to change educational expectations within his community, he was inspired to press ahead and excel in school. Today, his work focuses on helping Long Beach, underserved population, including those of first-generation, low-income, and ethnic minority students. In seeing the struggles of other students who come from backgrounds similar to his own, he gives back through nonprofit work, research, and mentorship. He hopes to establish a nonprofit organization that focuses on fostering academic resiliency for students who are most at risk for dropping out of school, mainly focusing on ethnic minorities. In cultivating a culture of parental involvement, which is super, super important, I agree with you, he hopes to help families develop the skills necessary to ensure children's academic success. Dr. Anderson has published a total of 5 children and teen books and became the best-selling author. Moving from one accomplishment to the next, he now aspires to empower and transform communities like his own through education. Welcome to the show and congratulations on all your success and rising above your challenges. You have truly achieved your own American dream. And I just love to see people, especially when everything is against them, succeed. And not only are you leading the way, but you're actually showing the way.
Thank you.
That's so awesome. So thank you. So the books, these awesome little books that Keon has written. You want to tell us a little bit about these books? What are they about? Why did you write them and who are they for?
Okay, so I wrote Cash Money Rules sort of out of a desire. I come from a community where people don't understand money and they're also very adverse to discussing money, just sort of in general. I found that while there is a general need for most people to have money, people don't understand it. So because I work in education and I have worked in education for over a decade now, I sort of understood that if I could teach kids how to understand money, one, they would have a foundation sort of a framing. So the book is sort of described that there are 10 basic rules that you need to understand in order to like make it through money. So basic principles, you need to be able to develop a positive relationship with money. If you can't talk about it, you probably won't be able to manage it well, and you also won't be able to seek counsel. Sort of going along with the theme of today, the book also sort of gives an example of entrepreneurship from a very young age. So in the book, Cash and Kasha, they have a treehouse who they charge their friends to come over and play in. And then they take that one treehouse and then they go and they buy 10 treehouses. So now that's sort of like a simulation of what happens in the real estate world. So really being able to take these very basic concepts as a founding base for people to start having conversations about money. And I found that if kids are having conversations about money, then ultimately their parents are also having conversations about money, and it creates a space where it's an open exchange.
Right. Right. Exactly. I love that. And I love that you made yourself a cartoon. So what has inspired you to rise above your challenges? Because a lot of people we see will just kind of succumb to them, right? And do nothing. But you actually wanted to change that.
So the thing that inspires me, I mentioned before I work in education. One of the things that I know about working with kids is that you have to actually live and breathe and exist in what it is that you're encouraging them to do. So in the capacities that I've worked, that sort of led me to finishing my doctoral degree, that's led me to becoming a professor and sort of needing to exist in a way that makes sense. And on a money management side, it also has sort of placed me in a position where if I want you to be able to be stable and financially secure, I also have to do my own homework. I have to understand, how I can save, how I can invest in my future, how I can grow my money passively. One of the things that I did while I was in my doctoral program is I ran an Airbnb. And I will tell you that there is nothing more amazing than waking up in the morning to a check or a deposit and you didn't do anything the night before to get it. So sort of having those experiences and wanting to duplicate that experience for other people because it's possible.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So what do you have to say to those who are facing some of the similar challenges?
Sort of mirroring what you said earlier, educate yourself. There is no limit to the education that you can receive. Much of what I have learned has been via Google and YouTube, and literally just picking up random books about finances, talking to people who are sort of experts at money, people who are better than me, those who've been able to sort of navigate where I've been and like where I want to go, and really learning from their lessons. I feel like the tidbit of advice that I can give you, they say if you follow a billionaire, you can make $1 million. So really following the advice of those who've been able to sort of navigate forward and achieve their goals as it relates to money and their other life aspirations.
That's awesome. That's great. What are some of the challenges that you see kids now facing with money?
I think the biggest challenge that I see is not being able to grasp the concept of what money means and how it works. In some communities, kids are actually taught that money is a bad thing. Like money is the vein of all evil. And it's like, no, money is necessary for you to survive. So if surviving is evil, then like you better get very evil very fast.
Exactly.
So I think being able to understand money and at a very early age, I think that it's never too early to have appropriate conversations about cost, about the value of a dollar, about creative ways for kids to make money. I have a 14-year-old sister now, and she's actually learning currency exchange trading because she's really interested in being able to afford the lifestyle that she wants. She sort of decided at a very early age that the lifestyle that we could provide is not up to her standard. And she's very actively seeking ways in order to be able to monetize. She also runs like her own online, like small boutique store where she creates designs and she's selling merch. So she's sort of doing those things right now in real time. And I think that sort of pushing kids to move into action now, there is this misnomer that you have to wait until you're older in order to do a lot of this stuff or to have these conversations. And the earlier that we have these conversations, the better prepared kids are.
Yes, exactly. That's what I've been saying for the last 5 or 6 podcasts. Talk to your kids as soon as they can understand. I mean, you could do this stuff at 2 years old, right? Pick up your toys, you get an M&M. Something so that they can understand that. So what can parents do to be more proactive to get their kids to go out and maybe find a need, fill a need like your sister did?
So one of the things that I did in order to encourage my sister is I sort of leveraged what she wanted. So you want this thing, what can you do that would be worth me giving you the money that I've worked for so that you can have what you want? So really sort of creating a way. So when I was running my own Airbnb, I called my sister and I'm like, so you want to make some money? Come help me, clean the house, change the sheets. If you want to be able to have money for this thing that you're asking for, actually being able to represent working for it in real time, that could be via chores. In her case, I've always pushed for her to achieve academically, but also have some sort of entrepreneurship path at creating money for herself. So I think that like really getting creative in terms of what that looked like. And it doesn't, with kids, it doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of money. I'm not giving my sister thousands of dollars. I am giving her something so that she understands that she needs to be able to put in the work in order to get a return. So it's a return on her time investment.
Yeah, that's great. And I think the more that parents talk about and create those opportunities and get the kids to be creative about that, they can actually go out and ask neighbors and friends and family and create businesses to go out there and make their own money. So it doesn't make the parents go broke, right?
Actually, at 14, I was tutoring college students in algebra and geometry just because I was really great at math. So I was out looking for ways in order to be able to monetize for myself.
And I bet right now with this whole online learning and all of this, there's just like an explosion happening of opportunities where people can become, mentors and mentor other students just like you did. So it's very inspiring. We're getting ready to go to break, but before we go to break, Dawnette, tell the audience they can win a $100 gift card in a round that you created. Let's tell everybody how they can participate.
So go to www.proverbsfinancialcoaching.com/giveaway, and it will give you instructions. You can subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Instagram, and sign up for my newsletter and enter to win a $100 Amazon gift card. And when we come back, I'm going to introduce our other two guests.
Welcome back, everyone. Dawnette is going to introduce us to her next special guest. Go for it,
Yes, I am. And I just want to say, if you guys want to pick up these books, you can go to Amazon and get them. It's Cash Money Rules. And is it Kasha Money Rules?
Yes.
Okay. They're great books. They come in a couple days, so make sure you pick them up. Is there any other ones? Because you said you wrote 5.
I do. So right now, I wrote more than that, but the ones that are published are Cash Money Rules, They Say We Don't, Prosper, are the ones that are actively published right now. And then I have a few that are going through publication.
Okay, so make sure you guys go to Amazon and get those books. Okay, so 2 more guests. Dave Jacobson has been a financial coach and national speaker since 2009, transforming thousands of families through his proprietary coaching system, founded the internationally recognized mastermind group Coach Connections, authored the Personal Finance Playbook Workshop Series, owns the Accountable Network, hosts the National Financial Coaching Conference, runs the Millionaire Roundtable, and is co-owner of Money Mavericks video game. Dave lives in Maple Grove, Minnesota with his wife of 22 years and his son and daughter. Dave is also an amazing mentor of mine. And I'm going to introduce Evan real quick. Evan, Dave's son, graduated from high school. Congratulations, Evan. And will be studying data science and entrepreneurship this fall. Since age 10, he's had a dozen businesses, including cleaning garbage cans, detailing cars, mowing lawns, to editing videos. He earned over $14,000 last year, fully funded his Roth IRA, has $12,000 in savings, and plans to reach the millionaire milestone by age 30. Known for his focus and work ethic, he is a 3-time state cross-country participant and earned all state academic honors. The day that Dave wrote this, it said, that day, Evan woke up at 4:30 a.m. to volunteer as an election judge until noon, then mowed 6 lawns for his clients, finishing in time to spend time with his girlfriend. He's passionate about shoes, fitness, and basketball. Welcome to the show, and thank you guys for being here, and congratulations on everything you guys have accomplished. And Evan, wow. So Evan, tell us.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Yeah. tell us what it's been like to grow up with financially savvy parents.
Well, since a young age, they started me off on these chore charts. They've gotten me in the mindset that money is a good thing, nothing to be scared about. They've rewarded me through a commission. When I do things around the house, whether it's big or small chores, I can check a box off on the list. And every time I finish a list, I get a compensation for that. So it teaches me that I need to show up and achieve something before I get rewarded.
That's awesome. I love that.
And that mindset has gotten me in the habits of saving money, how to spend money, not have instant gratification, and get put on good behaviors with money.
That's fantastic. How do you think it has impacted you versus your friends?
Well, I don't know any different. I've grown up in a financially talked about household, so I don't know their point of view versus mine, but I know from word of mouth and stuff that my friends are a little bit nervous about money in the future. They're wondering how they can afford college and stuff. And I'm personally not worried about it. I'm actually excited about making money in the future and the possibilities that it has to offer. I've actually created a life planner, kind of mapping out how I want to spend money in the future and how I'm going to be making it. So I'm actually quite excited about making money in the future.
Fantastic. Wow. So tell us a little bit about your planner.
So I've set aside like topics that I'm going to be spending money on. I'm going to be buying a car eventually and then upgrading that car every year based on the amount of money I earn, about how much I should set aside for a house, kind of starting to budget based on potential income I could be bringing in. I have a section talking about the income I can earn. I want to have multiple streams of income. So I have a job. I don't know what that's going to be in the future, but I have a job and the amount of money I can possibly earn with that. And then other streams of income, whether it's a basketball coach and other entrepreneurial ideas that I might have in the future.
That's fantastic. So you're planning way ahead. Good job. One of the things I've heard parents say is they don't want their kids to work because it's going to get in the way of school and they can't study. Have you found that to be true?
Well, I found that being an entrepreneur, I've been able to give myself a flexible schedule. If I have school or sports and stuff, I've communicated with my clients and told them that this is my schedule. I'm able to do work at this time. Does that work for you? If not, then we can figure something out. I think being an entrepreneur and working for yourself gives you that flexibility that you wouldn't have in another job where you work for somebody else.
That's awesome. So you communicated with your clients.
Amazing, right?
Yes.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I think is so cool is the soft skills and the social stuff that we've taught them. Not only, hey, dude, go get a job, but as they're working through it, bring them up to speed on, hey, Evan, it looks like it's going to be raining the next 4 days. You maybe want to ping your clients to see if they want their lawn mowed ahead of this or after, and just teaching them to communicate. It's amazing. And then the referrals he's gotten in his mowing business, because he shows up, he communicates, all that other stuff is really cool.
That's fantastic. And I think that's huge, really teaching kids to be able to communicate with adults because they get so intimidated. My kids didn't even want to be on the phone. They're like, can you make the call? And I said, absolutely not. You're going to make the call. If you want to know the information, you call them. And so that has helped them. They've been in plays and stuff, and it's been fantastic. Evan, what problems do you see kids your age facing when it comes to finances?
Well, a lot of them are in the mindset, I think, about having instant gratification. I see a lot of them spending the money that they make in the summer within the first 2 months of getting back into school. And I don't think that a lot of them have put money aside. And I think since they haven't gotten the habit now of putting money aside when they aren't making as much as they will in the future, that they won't have, as much money set aside to do things that they might want to do. So if they want to end up going on a vacation or something, they won't have the money set aside for that because they haven't ever practiced budgeting and
Right.
I guess putting money towards things that they planned ahead for.
And
You know-
are you able to have these conversations with your friends? Do they ask you, or do any of those conversations get opened up?
I haven't talked about money a whole lot with my friends. The most I've ever talked about was, I guess, college situations, like how they're going to be able to afford college. But I mean, I've talked a little bit about like, oh, this game or this thing is coming out. Are you going to get it? Blah, blah, blah. Just minor purchases, nothing long-term. We haven't really talked about.
All right.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to point out is, did I hear you say that you wanted to be a millionaire by the time you're 30?
Yes.
Right? So that's right there. That's a huge statement. And really what that says about you is that you totally embrace your relationship with money and your, entrepreneurship and, what you're going to do. You've already embraced it, and you're saying, this is what my goal is and this is what I'm going to do. So many people, including so many adults, don't have that mindset. They don't think about that. So well done you on that one. And then the other thing that I noticed is you don't have the entitlement energy, this chip that a lot of kids carry around nowadays. They have this entitlement. They feel entitled to have everything handed to them. And so your parents have done a fantastic job with, laying the foundation out for you, these core principles that are just really inspiring.
Yeah. Good job, Dave.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun. It's as you know, I enjoy talking money. So having kids that are raised, and I'm pretty proud of both of them. So yeah, it's been cool.
So Dave, shifting a little bit to you, what inspired you to make sure your kids knew about money and entrepreneurship?
Well, in the coaching world, we see a lot of people that have a lot of issues. And we also see people that have so much potential and they're blowing it. I didn't want that for our kids. I think as parents, it's our job to get our kids to the level above us. And the way we can do that is equip them early with the things that we've learned through mistakes and all that other stuff. So if we can launch them quicker, they're going to be better off. So we have very open discussions about money. There really isn't. Is there any questions we don't really cover? We talk about it almost daily on some random something.
Yeah, we talk about money a lot.
Yeah. And then when it comes to entrepreneurship, not that everybody's built different. Some people just want a W-2 job and that's so cool and that's all right. Others are just never exposed to entrepreneurial stuff. So then they're afraid of it and they get to be like 40, 45 and they're still scared to dive into it. It's like, go explore, especially as kids. Who cares? So that's what we've been trying to foster in our kids, is just go test and figure out what you're passionate about. And then the habits and behaviors that we can teach through the process, we try to inject those too.
That's awesome. I hope you guys heard that. They're talking to their kids about money almost every single day. This conversation is so very important. You guys, money touches every area of our lives. We need to be talking about it. We should be talking about it. We have to be talking about it. So Dave, what do you think is blocking parents from exposing their kids to even talking about money or this entrepreneurship?
Well, entrepreneurship, the difficulty there is they may not understand it themselves. So it's hard to teach something or walk people through it or children through it if you don't understand it yourself. I think that is a big barrier, but why not go explore it together?
That's great.
So you can spin any negative into a positive and say, you know what, it's a great question about entrepreneurship and starting your business. Let's go figure it out. And you do it together. So that's what I would encourage there.
That's awesome. And one thing you also said was that you talked about mistakes, right? You weren't embarrassed by the mistakes, but you talked to your kids about the mistakes and you've allowed them to make mistakes, which I think is huge. And we've talked about that before because we have a society that they don't want you to fail. Like if you fail, oh my gosh, you're so bad.
Oh, exactly. Is it okay if you fail?
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's super important. Keon, do you ever see any of that where kids are afraid to fail?
I do actually, and I encourage people to fail as often as possible. It's even something that I try to practice. I just sort of a note with a question you asked Dave about why parents don't have the conversation is that they're afraid sometimes to let their kids see them fail or to know that they've made a mistake. And in having conversations about how they failed and how they've made mistakes, they humanize themselves for their kids and they create a safe space for them to also try.
That's true. We all make mistakes and we're going to make more. There's no getting around it. So we might as well just say, well, I screwed up. Here's what I learned. Here's how I did it differently. Dave, what are some things parents can be doing to introduce these concepts to their kids?
I think sometimes we make it way too complicated. A lot of times these things are right in front of us and we can use life as an example. So parents that are going to be upgrading a car or purchasing a car, take the kids with. On the way there, talk through, here's what we're doing and why. Here's my goal in visiting with, this is going to be a seek session. I don't want to purchase today. We're just going to get an idea of what's out there and things like that. Mom and I have a budget of X dollars. Here's why. Use life and talk about it. There's a gentleman coming over today. He's going to be taking a look at our water heater. We think we're going to need to replace it. Here's the kind of questions I'm going to be asking him. Use the things that are right in front of you. And again, you don't have to be perfect at it because whatever you share with them is more than they already know. And ask them, what other things should I be asking them? Any questions that you have? Bring them into the discussion. It's actually super easy. And I don't know if we fumbled upon it and just don't really care. We just talk about this stuff.
That's awesome. Keon, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm in agreement. I really hope that the parents that are on the call and the students that are on the call or children who are on the call sort of really take heed to the failing forward, trying things, developing your expertise over time, and really just sort of putting yourself out there. The greatest way to get to success is starting, just move into action.
Exactly. You have to start. So Dave, you want to tell us a little bit about the game that you created, Money Mavericks, why you developed it, what it does. It's an amazing game. We hit on it a little bit last time, but we'd love for you to talk about it from your point of view.
The game. Imagine everything that I've learned in personal finances, either through trainings that I've taken. I actually train others. I've worked with thousands of clients, and I've noticed the habits and behaviors that it takes to build wealth. I've talked through and worked with people through every single life situation. And we use the game in a gamified, fun process to walk kids through that. And one of my rules when we built the game was it cannot be funded by anybody, because then it's going to be skewed, right? If it's funded by a bank or a financial institution, it's going to promote something. That was the rule. The other piece that was really interesting that I wasn't sure we'd be able to do, because game design is a little unique and you're not sure what your parameters are and things like that, is we need to get the point across that wealth is not a pile of money and debt-free. Wealth is holistic. It's, yes, sure, finances, but you also have health, spirituality, your vocation you need to be passionate about. It involves everything. So the very first thing the kids do when they jump into the game is they set their happiness scale. What is important to me? Is it relationships or is it financial stability? Is it this or is it that? And they only have so many points they can use, and it has to balance. As they go play the game, the game's formula and decisions they make ties back to what they said is important to them. And it's so cool, because then when you talk about opportunity costs, because that's really what we're talking about in the game and in all their decisions, as they make opportunity cost decisions, it weighs against what they said is important to them. And then their happiness meter, or up to a score of 100, will rise or drop based on the decisions they're making, and they're able to see not only the short-term but long-term impact of their decisions. The other cool thing about the game is we aren't coming in saying, this is what you need to do. We're just exposing them to it, and they get to make the call. And I think that is so cool because learning through mistakes is, I think that's almost more powerful. And being able to go through the purchase of their first car. Should they get a credit card? How do they get a credit card? Will they get their first check? How come it's only a portion of it there? What are taxes? All the way to, what else does the game cover? You played it like 6 times when it was in beta.
Yeah.
Goes
It
all the way.
covers so much stuff, apartments,
Yeah.
clothes buying. Yeah.
So they get exposed to it now. So when
Yeah.
they come across it in their life, they'll be at least have a rough idea of what it is and not be afraid of it. So I think that's super cool.
And what is funny is that I think in that game, it comes upon something breaks in your house, which was his water heater, right? So
Yeah.
you're dealing with that situation today.
Yeah, it does. And the other piece is, we mentioned entrepreneurship, and a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't teach entrepreneurship. We teach it in the game. So one of the things that we can do in the game is the player can start a side business, and it's a blogging business, and they can take and scale that business to whatever level they want. And it's so cool. But at the same time, if they value work-life balance and they're like, oh, I'm going to go make a bunch of money in my side business, what happens? The game recognizes that you're spending all your time on the side business, and your happiness meter goes down because your work-life balance is off. And the game will kind of let you know that. And I think that's so cool. So yes, we're teaching entrepreneurialism, but wealth is not a pile of money and debt-free. It's holistic. So it's just is really cool.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's one of my favorite things about the game is that they can actually see that the way that they spend their money and time affects them and what's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
Evan, do you have any advice for kids to get out there and create opportunities for themselves?
Well, I started my entrepreneurship journey, or whatever you want to call it, just as find stuff I like to do. The first thing I did was a lemonade stand, nice and simple. I wanted to make more money from that, so I threw in cookies. And to make a little bit more money, we had a bounce house. So I set up the bounce house and said, if you buy lemonade and cookies, you got time to bounce in the bounce house. So
Nice.
it started from that. And then chores my dad made me do around the house. One of them was washing garbage cans. After I was done with it, my dad asked me, was that fun? I said no. And then he pointed up the street and asked me to count how many garbage cans there were, and asked if other people would pay for me to do that. And I sent out flyers and washed garbage cans. So stuff like that, just finding things that you like to do or other people won't like to do, and trying to make a business out of it.
Find a need, fill a need.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Look for the opportunities out there. And what's so cool is no matter what curveball is sent, COVID or whatever, there's always opportunities. And to be able to see those and recognize them and pivot is a mindset and behavior that I think, I'm confident he has. He'll be able to figure it out. And that's where we want to get him as parents.
Right. We want them to, exactly. We want them to be able to go out there and no boomerang kids, right? We don't want to create boomerang kids.
No, I don't mind if he boomerangs a little bit. Play basketball in the mornings and stuff like that. I like having them around.
Yeah. They're awesome to have around. And our 21-year-old just announced that he's moving out this weekend. So I'm super sad.
Yeah.
Keon, do you have anything to add about how kids could get out there and create these opportunities?
I think it starts with asking. So I think like the idea of asking the neighbors if they needed help cleaning out their trash, if they need to get their grass cut. Something that I know that I have a lot of students who are doing now is they're doing grocery store deliveries, where they're taking orders for people in the community. And when they go to the store, they're also picking up other stuff for them. Just because some people don't want to go outside at all. So really being able to take advantage of the highs and the lows. I also have students who are sort of running tutoring services, because traditional tutoring and testing services were not prepared to go online. And many of my younger youth, they were already sort of doing these things. So they're literally taking what they were doing face to face and taking advantage of this opportunity to not only build out businesses, but do more than what they would have been able to do because they're saving on the travel time.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So asking, and so they're not going using the Instacart route. They're actually going to their neighbor and saying, "Hey, can I pick you something up from the grocery store?"
Yeah. One of my kids, he was volunteering at a senior community. So he sent out a flyer to the seniors because, of course, they're more at risk. He's like, I can pick up groceries or snacks or whatever you need from the store while I'm out. And then they do like a technical drop off where they drop off everything. They send the money via electronic means. So they have everything they need.
That's fantastic. I love that. So you guys, there is so much opportunity out there. All the creativity, asking people, looking around, seeing what needs to be done. And I know like our hour is just about up. I think we have about 1 minute left. So I want to remind you, go to my website, www.proverbsfinancialcoaching / giveaway to enter to win $100 Amazon gift card. And I want to thank all my guests for being here, for coming and talking and sharing your expertise with us. It was so fun to have you. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, audience. We'll see you again next time. Thanks, Dawnette.